Hello, and welcome to the Core for Social Workers Instructor Logistics Overview. The purpose of this webinar is to provide you with an overview of logistics that instructors should be aware of for all of our Core for Social Workers classes. The current version of Core for Social Workers is version 3.0. This started in February of 2017. With that being said, we do have some revisions happening at the statewide level, and there will be a new version being released in the next year or so, possibly in 2020. CORE is built upon the practice phases as well as existing and emerging initiatives in California as part of the California Integrated Child Welfare Core Practice Model, or ICPM. On your screen, you'll see a variety of existing and emerging initiatives that are part of CORE, and they will be, if they're not already part of the CORE classes, they will be part of CORE in the next year or so as the revisions are completed. The CORE 3.0 training blocks mirror the ICPM practice phases. So this really follows the trajectory of child welfare services. So we look at prevention, engagement, assessment, planning and service delivery, monitoring and adapting, and transitions. And the classes build on each other and really follow that sequence of training blocks, or what we call modules. Currently, Core for Social Workers is 10 modules at about 8 months duration. There's 29 classes, 22 online classes, which are called eLearnings, and 9 field activities that are completed by the worker in their county with a field advisor who is usually their supervisor. Classes are intended to be completed in order, so each module and each class builds on the previous one. So workers are asked to complete eLearnings, which is their knowledge and theory information. And then the classroom has skill building activities that really build on the knowledge they learned in the eLearnings. And the field activities, of course, are the on-the-job skill application. This is the current cohort list for Northern Academy. We usually offer around 7 cohorts per year. So, and in the summertime, we've been offering a fast track cohort, which allows new workers who have minimal to no caseloads to complete CORE in a condensed version of about 12 weeks. Here's some classroom reminders. All classes begin at 9 and end at 4 p.m. daily. That usually includes 2 15-minute breaks and a 1-hour lunch. So please make sure to give students that consistent 15-minute break in the morning, mid-morning, and then mid-afternoon, depending on when you're teaching. Students should sign in at the beginning of each class topic. Some classes are full day, so there would only be 1 sign-in sheet for that class. Or they may have 2 half-day classes, and so they'll have 2 sign-in sheets for that day for each class. Please make sure that you help check on the attendance log to make sure that people sign in, because sometimes people forget to sign in and then they unfortunately will have to make up the class, because that's really our only way of tracking who's completed the class. Students should bring all required classroom materials, which are all online, and I'll go over that in a minute. Students should also bring an electronic device if they have one. We usually have a few iPads in the classroom, but you know, if those are all taken up, they are encouraged to bring laptops, iPads, smartphones, whatever they can to access their classroom materials if they forget them, or also for our online evaluations, which are now really dependent on them having a smart device to access those evaluations. Also, regarding evaluations, please note there is a separate webinar that's recorded about the online evaluation process. So please view that if you haven't already done so. The attendance policy is very strict due to training mandates statewide. So this is a mandatory program for all social workers to complete within their first year. So it is really important that we make sure we double check the sign-in sheet, make sure people sign in. And if they're not on the sign-in sheet, there is a walk-in enrollment form that's included in your materials box that will be part of, that they'll need to really complete in order to get credit for the class. So you can, if they do complete a walk-in enrollment form, just attach that to the back of the sign-in sheet so that Academy can update the records. If a student misses any portion of class for any reason, illness or court, they will need to make up the class. So it could take several months for them to make it up if they miss a class because of the scheduling. So you can have students email academy@ucdavis.edu in order to schedule a makeup. The social worker passport is given to students at the beginning of each cohort. It's also available on our core resources page, so they can access that to keep track of all of their attendance. That includes classes, e-learnings, and field activities. So it's really a helpful guide to help them keep track of all their completion. So please encourage them to continue to use that, as that is a good backup just in case our records don't match their records as far as attendance and completion of activities. Just a reminder, CORE is a technology-based program, so all of our classes are online on our CORE for Social Workers resource page. So for you as an instructor, when you get to the classroom, it's a great idea to come early and set up for the class by visiting our website. So you'll want to make sure you get online, and there's usually someone in the location to help you get online if you have issues with that. But the laptop will be there, and you'll be able to load up a web browser, and you can go ahead and Google CORE for Social Workers OER Commons. And that's just a really quick way to get to our CORE resource page. Just make sure it has OER Commons next to it. You can also click the link on this, or have this bit.ly link on the screen, which is a shortened link that's easy to remember. Once you get to the resource page, you're going to see the this screen here, which says CORE for Social Workers CA Resources. The top has some general resources, and then you'll scroll down and you'll see below there's participant resources. Once you scroll down, you'll see classroom materials. You'll also see the CORE for Social Workers Passport up here, and it'll be the latest version. So if you're teaching Module 1, you'll click on Module 1, and that will take you to the classroom materials. So say you're teaching Orientation to Child Welfare Practice in Common Core 3.0. You'll see that there's classroom materials listed at the top that says required for attendees. That means that the student must either print or have these resources available online for them on their laptop or smart device. So there's required materials, and then you'll see below there's supplemental materials, which are optional. A lot of times that's the PowerPoint handout if they want to print that and bring it so they can write some notes on it. You'll also see down below there's a post-class evaluation. That is our satisfaction survey, and there may be some other surveys associated with the classes. So just make sure you direct the students to that section of the class online, and they can access their evaluations that way. There's also some bit.ly links to the surveys that they can type into their web browser on their smart device. So please refer to our evaluation webinar for more information about that. What you'll also see, what I should also mention actually on this screen is below the post-class evaluation, you're going to scroll down more and you'll see the instructor materials. That will include the trainer guide, the PowerPoint, and all of the items you need to teach the class. So that's also on this class page for each class. And then you'll also see the class videos. So you'll see links to the videos for each class. Please click the video link and it'll open up in YouTube, or you can also play it directly from the core resource page. Please get to class early and set up if you're teaching so you can test the video and make sure the speakers work and things like that. And again, there will also be a support person generally at the location you can contact. Also, please select the CC option. That's closed captioning for people who are more visual learners, some English as a second language or hard of hearing students. Some videos don't have this option, but if it does have the option, please select CC so that people can actually read what the video is saying. eLearnings. This is just a reminder that the link to the eLearnings is here. It's a separate website from the core resource page. So some students may ask, you know, how to get onto their Canvas to view the eLearnings. You can always have them email academy at ucdavis.edu for any technical support for eLearnings, but they do receive their first e-learning during Module 1, Day 1. We actually go through it during the Introduction to Core for Social Workers class. So they get familiar with the e-learnings. And remember, e-learnings should be completed prior to classes. So just, you know, as an instructor, if you could remind students to complete their e-learnings, that would be wonderful as they do connect to the classes. The field activities are really between the worker and their field advisor, who is usually their supervisor in their counties. So just know that there are field activities. Maybe give reminders during class about their field activities, and you know, if they have any questions, again, they can email Academy. But the field activity materials are actually included on the core resource page. Under participant resources, you'll see classroom materials like we just went over, and then you'll scroll down and they'll be able to see their field activity materials. So they just go to those links and they all go to the same page, which is our field activity page. And that really has all of the activity guides that they're going to need. So this is the top of the page, and then if you scroll down, you'll see Module 3 engagement field activities. The field activities don't start until Module 3, and so this is their first one, interviewing. So there's a PDF guide that they will download or print. And then once they complete the activity with their field advisor, the field advisor completes a survey, which is also linked here. And that will capture that they've completed that activity. By now, core participants are probably feeling pretty frazzled with all the work they're doing and trying to manage training as well as their caseload. So just give them a lot of grace and support. We're here to try to help them be successful, and also knowing that they have a lot of competing priorities and can be really challenging to complete and focus on training when they have work caseloads, which is usually the case in Northern California. Most of them have caseloads pretty soon after they are hired. Now we're going to move on to core instructors' roles and responsibilities. So this is just kind of a reminder. Please complete all required or encouraged training for trainers. That may include some instructor webinars that we offer for professional development and things like that. But there are some required training for trainers for core instructors. I'll go over that in a minute. Be familiar with Core 3.0 schedule of classes and requirements. That could simply be looking through the resource barn page or looking at the Social Worker Passport, just to kind of be aware of all the classes and how they all fit together. Familiarize yourself with the curriculum you'll be teaching and ensure you know how to access that curriculum in the classroom, such as being able to sit down at the computer at the beginning of class to load the videos, load the curriculum and things like that. There are sometimes an Academy staff member will be present in the class and helping you set up, but oftentimes in some of our more remote locations, such as Eureka, maybe Anderson, you may not have the support of an Academy member, and so that's why we just encourage you to be familiar with the technology, as most of this is technology-based. Please complete all e-learnings that correspond with the classes you are teaching. So that's really for you to be able to understand what knowledge they're receiving before you teach the class. For instance, trauma-informed practice is a good example. That one has a prerequisite intro to trauma-informed practice e-learning. So if you're teaching trauma-informed practice, please be aware of the e-learning that corresponds with that class. And we just ask that you view it once and be aware of what's covered. And that really helps you, again, making those connections between the knowledge and then the classroom skill building activities that you're teaching. If you have any questions, please email myself, Tammy McCaleb, or Caitlin Ash, or you can email the Academy and ask for access to the e-learnings if you don't already have access. And then also, if you're unsure of what prerequisite e-learnings are part of the class or prior to the class you're teaching. The Social Worker Passport is a good view of what e-learnings correspond with what classes. Some e-learnings are just standalone. They don't have a class connected to them. So just be aware of that. Please arrive at least 30 minutes early to the class to set up, to load the PowerPoint and so forth. That just gives you time to make sure everything's working well. Remind students of upcoming e-learnings, be familiar with field activities, or at least how to direct them to get their field activity guides. Be familiar with core evaluation. So again, please view the core evaluation webinar. Promote knowledge and skill development that aligns with best practice. That's really what what our goal is in core. You will receive a confirmation letter prior to each module that you're teaching. So that usually comes from Caitlin Ash. Please read the entire letter to ensure understanding of your dates, locations, classroom logistics, and so forth. The core materials boxes are nicely and neatly organized and are shipped to the location, or if it's in Sacramento or Davis, an Academy staff is usually bringing those and setting those up. But just be aware, here's some pictures of what the core materials boxes look like. Sometimes there's some large posters and things that may be at the very bottom of that plastic box. So please be aware of that if you have any posters associated with your class. So each class is separated by a hanging file, and you'll see all the applicable handouts, activities, trainee guides, and so forth. The trainee guides, we ask that you try to reuse those. So you just there's one for each table, generally about 5 copies, and that's just in case people forget and need to share a trainee guide. So, but we do try to reuse those. There will be also sometimes some additional boxes. There may be 2 or 3 boxes that includes the laptop, the iPads, the speakers, crash kit with all the markers and Post-it notes, SDM manuals, and so forth. So please be aware of that. There are also some evaluation packets that are at the very front of the materials box under General Documents. So the General Documents folder is going to have like the sign-in sheets and things like that. But it also includes these evaluation packets that are laminated and go on each table. And that is really including all the information they need to complete the evaluations, such as the CalSWEC letter. That's really informing them that they have the right to not participate in the research. It's really voluntary. But even though it's voluntary, students are asked to complete all evaluations as an activity in the classroom. But they can select no, they don't want to participate in the research, and that's okay. They don't have to participate, but they can still complete the evaluations. Those packets also have the RTA or Regional Training Academy site codes. So every site has a code, as you'll see on the screen here. For Northern, we have several locations, so they'll enter the code according to location. They have county codes that, depending on their county, There's iPad instructions, and then there's the classroom evaluation procedures that includes the links to the evaluations, what evaluations go with what class, and so forth. The core materials boxes, again, the first hanging file in that general documents also includes, besides the evaluation instructions, the sign-in folder with sign-in sheets for all classes in that module, walk-in enrollment forms if they're not on the sign-in sheet, name tints, and that's about it in that folder. So just make sure when you complete your class, please return your sign-in sheet into the sign-in folder so that Academy staff can reconcile all that information. The class folders, again, also have specific handouts based on the class. Here's a couple other pictures of the core materials boxes and how they're organized. So you'll see trauma-informed practice has evaluations in it and trainee guides, and you'll see also there's a hanging file for activities. So it's all very organized. And please, we just ask that you please try to put things back where they came from so that we can keep things organized as possible. Returning materials boxes to the Academy. So there is a FedEx return label that's located in the materials box somewhere. It may even be in the crash kit, so look around for this label. And some of our locations actually, will return these for us and call FedEx for us. Most of the hotels and things will do that. So if you just pack up the box, if you're the last person teaching for that class, the procedures are here on the screen. So please pack up the boxes with everything, and then you can tape up the boxes using packing tape that's included in the crash kit, or sometimes the hotel or location will have, will pack it up for you. Attach the FedEx return label, and then ask the training office staff if they'll call FedEx to arrange pickup. If they're not comfortable doing so, which we have had happen, please call FedEx and arrange for pickup at the training location. If you're still uncomfortable with that, you can also call Academy and talk to Caitlin or Tammy or one of us to help you with the return of the boxes. It's usually a pretty smooth process. Just a reminder about curriculum. The core class curriculum, again, is standardized, so we ask that you please do not change anything. Please cover it as best you can as it's written. I know it's very jam-packed curriculum, so just get through what you can get through the best you can. Most classes include a PowerPoint trainer's guide, trainee guide, and some supplemental handouts and videos. So if you do have any feedback about any of the curriculum, please email me, Tammy McCaleb, or Caitlin, or you can even email the Academy inbox. But we really, really want feedback on what doesn't work, because we can forward that to the statewide curriculum committee and to make those improvements. Please note that curriculum is revised every 4 months at this point by CalSWEC, and this is based on feedback and policy updates. So there is a version change document that's posted in the training materials section for each class. So please look out for this version change document and the date, so that you're ensuring that you're teaching the most up-to-date curriculum. I know sometimes as a trainer you want to, maybe print the materials, and so you have a binder to teach from. But just be aware that there are periodic updates, and so the trainer's guide, you want to make sure that's up to date. The version you're using matches what's online on our page. And the last screen is kind of a view of what the version change document looks like. It has like summary of changes, page numbers, and things like that. And we do ask that you check at least 2 weeks before you're scheduled to teach a class to make sure that you do have that up-to-date curriculum. Additionally, our wonderful editor, Jason Barucki, has developed a core curriculum posting schedule. So that also is a document that reflects all the changes for a particular quarter. and when they'll be reflected on our core resource page. So we do update those in a specific sequence. So it'll say up here on the right, classroom debut, and that'll be when that newest version is actually available on our website. So, or actually that's when the class is next scheduled. So as you can see, legal procedures was updated 4/30 of 19. It was posted on the resource barn on July 3rd of 2019, and then the next class offering is July 29th of 2019. So that's kind of how to read this document. And we do send out this document every time it's updated, just as an at-a-glance for you. Important reminders again, this standardized curriculum. So if you do have feedback, please let us know so we can forward that and make sure it's improved. Also a note about group agreements. Group agreements are created by the cohort of the students during their Module 1, Day 1 class. So it's not necessary for you to create new group agreements for each class, although it is covered in your curriculum for each class. So it's basically after they create them, we hope to laminate those and have them as part of the general documents that go on the tables. So they can revisit their group agreements if there's ever an issue or challenge in the classroom. You can always use the group agreements as a great tool to remind them of what they agreed upon. So just kind of revisit the group agreements at the beginning of each class you're teaching, and just, make sure that they, still agree to those or have any additions or upgrades. That's totally fine. You don't have to start creating new agreements, even though it is in the curriculum. Training and resources for instructors. So there are required training for all core instructors within their first year of teaching core. There's some best practice webinars. There's a facilitator-led skill-based T4T, which used to be a one-day class. We've now made it into a webinar. There are also the prerequisite e-learnings for the classes you are teaching. So again, that'll be specific to whatever you are teaching. Optional training, there's curriculum overview webinars that were developed by CalSWEC back in 2017. They may be helpful for some of you to review as you prepare for some of those classes you're teaching. There's instructor webinars that we're really, as an academy and as a Center for Human Services, are working on some great professional development webinars and things to offer for support and professional development. We also hope to plan more in-person convenings and meetings in the future. And we are open to your feedback if you have any ideas for how to best support you as an instructor. So again, the core resource page houses all of the instructor resources and information about the training I just talked about. So under participant resources, you're going to scroll down and you'll see instructor resources. And this is a lot of information about the core instructor prep plan that has all the training requirements, your instructor passport that helps you keep track of your trainings. And then you can click on this link and it will take you to those required and optional training for trainers, which has a lot of the great videos and webinars that I just talked about that were required and optional. So you'll see, once it takes you to that page, you'll see the foundational instructor T4Ts, required training for trainers. And these are the 3 items that are required. And so you'll see assessment is right here and the video is right here. And then below that, you'll see cultural humility, trauma-informed practice, and so forth. So you just scroll down and you'll see all the required trainings. And these are really just for you to complete at your own leisure. We don't officially track them. We ask you to track your own training. And the Instructor Passport that's available on on the instructor resource page, on the core page, is available for you to just keep track of everything, the date you completed it, and things like that. So so you just know what you have completed. Again, we ask you to get set up to complete e-learnings. based on what classes you're teaching. So you will receive an email from Infrastructure Canvas or Center for Online Learning. The login screen looks like this, what's on the screen here. For all new instructors, please email Academy, or you can also email Tammy McCaleb or Caitlin Ash to get set up to view the eLearnings. You can also email Scott Fong. First-time users, you just type in your email address and select Forgot Password, and that way you can update your password to your own personalized password. The eLearning screen looks like this. So there's a total of 22 eLearnings. The dashboard only allows you to see up to 20 courses at a time. So if you're on your dashboard view, you may not see all the eLearnings. So make sure you go to courses, and that will have your full course list available. This is also for you to let students know, because a lot of times students will think they're not signed up for all the eLearnings, but they are. They're automatically signed up for all eLearnings. So they may be just looking at dashboard and not looking at their full course list. One final resource for you is the Instructor Portal. So make sure that you're checking that portal for all of your classes that you're scheduled to teach. It has a lot of good information on it. So if you go to the main continuing and professional education website, you're going to see instructor login on the top right-hand corner. Select that, and then you will enter your instructor login information. If you have questions, please email Academy if you're not able to get in. Then you will see your profile, and it will have all your contact information that you can update. If you select course schedule, you'll see all of the classes open for enrollment that you're scheduled to teach, courses you've previously taught, canceled courses, and so forth. So there's a lot of great information in there for you to track. Also, you can go to the course profile, and it has the description and what the location is, who you might be teaching with, if you're co-training, and things like that. And your current schedule has everything that's upcoming for you. Again, your feedback is welcome. We really want to make sure that you feel supported and have everything you need for a successful classroom experience. Please let us know what's working well, or any challenges, worries you have, any upgrades or ideas. That could be anything from curriculum to classroom logistics, scheduling, materials, and so forth. So we really welcome your feedback, and we really appreciate all the work you do for Academy. If you have any questions, you can email me, Tammy, Caitlin, or the General Academy inbox. Thank you very much.